I'll tell you what, ooh, it's flipping warm in here. First thing in the morning. Yeah! Guess what? Today, it's Monica's birthday. I've got her a little prezzy. Right then, I'll go and pop this on her desk, make her happy this morning. It is her birthday. No one's in at the minute. It's only like, what, 8:45 in the morning. I'm the first one in. All the office staff don't get in till like 9 o'clock. They're all like part-timers here. There. You see, I've only put sort of like Ferrero Rocher, my favourite. That's the multicoloured ones, the ones with the different flavoured chocolates. And then we've got some WKD. In actual fact, I think this bubblegum blue, is it? That's my favourite one anyway. I don't know what these other ones are. Pink gin. Flipping heck. Mango crush. What other one is there? Orange and passion fruit. Yeah, I didn't put no red berry in there because that's bloody horrible. Anyway, I'll leave that there. Yeah, what I'm going to do today, because we're still in this bloody stupid lockdown, there's not much to do. We've been cleaning up the garage, doing all sorts of stuff, but there's no real work here. All the taxis are laid up, most of them are anyway. There's not many on the road. So that engine, the 2litre Duratec out of the Mark III Mondeo, because I've taken the chain off it and messed around a bit, the engine's going to go to the scrapyard. But because it's seized up, somebody mentioned in the comments about taking it apart and seeing what the damage is done on the crankshaft and that. So I figure I'll rip the rest of the engine apart and let's have a look and see what of a mess it's made. It sounds like a plan. And then when I've finished, when I've taken it all apart, then we're going to take them engine bits, the head and the rest of the engine, and we're going to fling them in the back of the Mark III Mondeo that's all smashed up in the shed outside. That could be fun. Right, let's do it. Before I get back onto this engine, let me just rip the back box off this Honda Jazz. This might be my one and only job today. Honda Jazz. It came in for an MOT yesterday afternoon. I failed it on the back box, where the clamp goes onto the middle box. It corrodes and you get all like little perforation holes. For like 30 odd quid for a new back box, it's not just not worth repairing it. Anyway, I'm waiting for the new box to arrive. So in the meantime, I'll rip it off anyway. Then we'll get onto this flipping Duratec engine and see what the damage is. Woohoo! Let's not forget the safety, the PPE. I don't know if you ever noticed, if you're underneath a vehicle, it depends what the lighting's like. If you get like you can see where the torch beam is shining and you sort of like knock something, the amount of dust, dust particles that comes off from underneath these cars, you don't normally see it, but sometimes when you do, you think, flipping heck, am I breathing all that shit in? So today, we're going to stick a mask on, as it seems to be a thing these days. There, that's got them undone nice and easily. Nice. Right, I'll pop a little bit of freon oil on the exhaust rubbers so they come off easier. Hopefully I can hook these out with a screwdriver. Yep, that's that. Bingo! Flipping heck, look at all the crap round here. Someone's been putting some bloody exhaust paste on it. There should be like a metal wire gasket here. There is a bit of it left. I've got one ordered, so I'll clean all this crap up and I'll fit our new gasket on here when it arrives. You see, when you clean this up, Look at all the dust. Absolutely disgusting. That's why you need to wear a mask when you're doing something like this. You don't want to be breathing all this shit in. There. Ah! There, you see? Look at that. I think that's a common point for where all these exhausts corrode. Not only that, there's another point. Also, where this pipe goes into the back box, it's actually all holed around here as well. It's literally breaking away. It's still on quite strong though. Oh, no, there it goes. Oh dear. I think we can probably say, oh, it's come off in my hand now. Well, that was fun. Right, let's get the hell on with this engine. So before I rip the cylinder head off this car, I'm just going to point out here, I've made a few more videos on this particular engine. The first one is obviously when I messed around with the timing chain. I took it apart and reset it and put it all back together so you can know how to set the timing chain up. You can watch that video somewhere here, I think. And also, I've done another video where I removed the inlet manifold and took out the swirl flaps, them troublesome bits that sort of like break up and make a lot of rattling noise when your engine's running. So if you want to watch that video, that'll be somewhere up there. Anyway, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to rip the chain off because we don't need that. That's got to come off anyway to get the head off. I'm going to rip the camshafts out, unbolt the head, but I'm going to show you something here with the spark plugs because there's a little story I'm going to tell you. So let's get these camshaft sprockets off. This front guide is actually, flipping heck, that was tight, is actually bolted into the cylinder head. So I'm going to get this guide right off. Gee, that was snap tight. Yeah, that's that one out of the way. This tensioner can come off so I can get this guide out of the way. I probably should have pointed this out in the last video when I'd done the chain. This tensioner, it's got like a little ratchet here. So once the tensioner ratchets itself out and tightens the chain, it can't detension itself. You literally have to put a pin in the tensioner to release the ratchet for it to go back in. See, some of these automatic tensioners that work on oil pressure, they can detension themselves and cause all kinds of like slapping chains, loose chains, where these tensioners can't. I quite like this. Anyway, off it comes. Now we can remove this guide, it's just on a stud. To take these camshafts out, there's 5 bearing caps running along both camshafts. And 10mm bolts holding each cap down. Normally, you'd unbolt these caps and take them off, then remove the camshaft, but you'd keep everything in exactly the same position so that the caps would fit on the same way round you took them off. Anyway, that doesn't apply to us today because this is scrap, so I'm just going to whack them off with the air gun. But yeah, you would normally undo all these bolts, all these 10 bolts, nice and evenly. But today, we're not doing nice and evenly. I'll just remove all these caps first, because if I lift the camshaft up, they're all going to fall all over the place. So I'll take them all off. There. One camshaft. Funny thing is, for an engine that's actually run out of oil and seized up, I would have thought it might have damaged the actual journals on the camshaft, but they all look pretty bloody good to me. Surprising. It's done the bottom ending, I know, but you would have thought the camshaft is like further away from the oil pump, it would have done them first, but obviously not. 1 minute. My back box has arrived. I have to get the paying customer's job done first. Right. Pop them into the rubber mounts. Come on. You know you want to go in there. Ah, there. Like a glove. And there, on that little flange, fits our like metal wire gasket. There, that will pop on and that will seal our exhaust. So we don't need any exhaust paste in here whatsoever. There you go. Look at that. Pop the bolt through, put the nut on. Splendid. And all we've got to do is whack them up. Being a rather cheap aftermarket exhaust, it's not the best of quality, if you know what I mean, but it has fitted. The flange isn't exactly square, but yeah, I'm sure it will seal. Woohoo! Aha! It has actually, if I can get it out, it's done this camshaft in. It's not much, but you can see the dark marks where it's actually been seizing up. So it has actually damaged the camshafts. Although the journals, they look pretty good still. Right then, to the scrapyard. Right, if you can hear a lot of activity going on around me, we've got some guests. Oh, that's the vacuum cleaner off. Hello? Hello. Costa, do you know today you're on YouTube? Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people watching you.
Yeah, I'm clear here.
They might also be asking what you're doing, but don't worry about that. There's just random people walking around the garage. I've no idea why. Anyway, I'm going to get this engine on a stand now because it's too high up on this bloody trolley. I need to sort of like get a better angle. So I'm going to get the engine crane out, stick it on the stand, and we're going to take the spark plugs out. Danny, come here. Come here. Come and get on YouTube like everybody else.
Like everybody else.
I like the shades, mate.
Yeah, that's right. It makes me look younger.
Andy, do you want to join the party?
He's not having it, is it?
There's never been so many people in here at one point. Hey, by the way, it's 2 metres apart, everybody. Right, keep getting distracted. Let's get this engine on the bloody ground. There's one little story here I'm going to go through. You see these spark plugs, and this can apply to any car. Usually your socket has got a piece of rubber inside it, so when you put your spark plug socket onto the plug will stay in the socket. But what happens a lot of the time, especially like my spark plug socket, the spark plug doesn't stay, so it'll just fall straight out. So if I put this on in the car and undo this plug, when I lift my socket up, the spark plug will stay in the car. So here's the story. Going back some years, we had like an apprentice here, and he'd done exactly that. But what happened was, when he put his socket onto the plug, he actually broke the porcelain. And a piece of this porcelain, he broke the porcelain, lifted the socket off the spark plug. The piece of broken porcelain fell down by the side of the spark plug. So when he lifted the spark plug out of its threads, the porcelain fell into the cylinder. And of course, after he'd fitted the new spark plugs, started the engine up, the piece of porcelain somehow had got down the side of the bore and destroyed it. It had made a gouge in the side of the bore and it had no compression on one of the cylinders. So we had to get another engine for the car, something that could have easily been avoided. But I'm going to show you something now when it comes to removing these spark plugs, just a little tip. First of all, it would pay to put an air line down here and blow any crap out to start with. But your spark plug socket, I'm using like a 3/8 bar here, okay, with a 3/8 ratchet on it. The trouble with this bar, it's quite thin, and quite often on these engines, you can get the spark plugs and you try and undo them and they're really tight. And if you carry on trying to undo them, they can like snap free, and then this will twist. This bar will actually twist if it's that tight, and you can actually break the porcelain quite easily. So if you do have a really tight spark plug in there, and you really think it's not going to undo very easily, what I suggest is get some freon oil, spray some freon oil down there, just a little puddle of it around the plug, and let that set. Leave it for a few hours. And then instead of using a 3/8 ratchet and a piddly little thin 3/8 bar, you're going to get a lot more leverage with a 1/2 inch bar and a nice big 1/2 inch ratchet. And also remember, because this bar is much thicker, it's not going to twist. So you're going to get a lot more force on that quite easily. This actual spark plug is quite tight, but that's just gone. That's it. I would have really struggled with using like a 3/8 bar to undo that one. Sometimes they come out easy, but quite often on these engines, a lot of engines, the spark plugs can get stuck in there really tight. So you've just got to spend a little bit of time and care and thought when you undo these plugs. So yeah, be careful. You don't want to trash your engine just for the sake of changing a set of spark plugs. Right, I'm going to see if I can undo these head bolts. There's 10 of them. They're all Torx 55 sockets. And believe me, these head bolts are tight. That one's gone. You'd normally work from the outside and work your way in. I might not bother, I might just do any rammed, and I might even try an air gun on these actually. Let's see how tight this one is. God! Flipping heck. That was tight. Yeah. Gee. Them head bolts, they are frigging tight. Right, we'll save constantly around. We'll just air gun them out of their threads now. One head bolt. Nice. There's nothing more holding the head on now. So I brought my trusty lever bar, because I should imagine it's stuck to the gasket. No, actually, that wasn't stuck at all. Let's lift it off. Bingo. Woo! I'm going to leave all the hydraulic tappets in the cylinder head because I'm not taking the valves out, but they're just like buckets that sit over the top of the valves. Yeah. And just spin this head round the other way. Well, the cylinders look pretty good. You can tell from like the light grey tannish, light tannish colour, that all the valves are fine. They've all been burning the fuel properly. I should imagine this was a pretty good engine until the driver ran it out of oil, cracked the sump, ran it out of oil and seized the bloody engine up. Yeah, pistons look alright. They actually look really good. Let's get this bloody gasket off. It's got a couple of dowels to hold it. It's a multi-layered tin gasket. I think there's probably about 2 layers to it. It just crushes up this gasket, makes a seal. They're ever so good until you overheat them. So I don't think these engines particularly like being overheated. Anyway, let's spin this engine over a little bit. I'll tell you something, it's tight. Yeah, You notice that's turning the crankshaft, but the little pulley for the oil pump, because it's not being held against the crankshaft now, being held solid, that's just staying where it is. Because that's actually turning the engine, but that's staying still. Right, I need to spin this engine over now so I can get to the sump bolts. Put my handle in there, this bolt can come out and I can spin the whole lot round. That's it. Spin it round, oh my God, it's taking a piss. Look at the flipping mess this has made. I get all the good jobs, me. Ooh. Yeah. I've got an idea. I'm going to take a break. It's getting a little bit too warm. Before I take the sump off, I think I should go and annoy Monica. It is her birthday after all, and I actually fancy one of them Ferrero Rochers. Yeah, Ferrero Rocher is something I wouldn't normally buy myself. Hello everybody, just popping in the office. Good morning, Marie.
Morning.
You do know what today is, don't you?
Monica's birthday.
No, it's Friday.
Well, yeah, and it's Monica's birthday.
Where's the birthday girl? Oh my God. What the heck? Look at the hair. It's like something out of Alice in Wonderland. I actually quite like it.
Thanks.
It's pretty cool. What have you got down here? Balloons? It's definitely... What are you doing tonight? Are you out on the town having a party?
Well, of course. I'm a rebel, Alan.
I know.
I don't care about lockdown.
I think when my hair grows back, I'll get it just like yours.
You should.
I might be in for a long wait though, but I'll tell you what, I don't want to be cheeky or nothing, but could I scaff one of your Ferrero Rochers, please?
Well, as long as it's not a Raffaello one, then yeah.
Well, what was sport for choice? What should we go for? Oh, I'll go for a gold one.
Go for the gold.
Well, thank you very much, Miss M.
You're welcome.
Once again, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Don't get too drunk tonight.
Can't promise that. It's Friday.
See you later.
Bye.
Marie,
What?
you work too hard.
I know.
Take a break.
Okay.
Right, back in the workshop. Got my chocky. These are nice. Anyhow, before the sump comes off, there's the damage. That is cracked. Where he's ground it there is actually a crack, so it's seeped out over a period of time. He hasn't dumped all its oil in one go. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm just going to whack out all the 10mm bolts holding the sump on. Right, this sump is a bit stuck down, so I'm going to see. Yep, that's gone. There. Yeah, all there is a bead of sealant holding this together. So there's no actual gasket. Holy crap! There is an absolute ton of metal filings in this sump everywhere. Flipping, this has done some serious damage. Bloody hell. That there has got absolutely no oil in it whatsoever. The flipping colour of it's like...
Well, yeah, because obviously that's furthest away, isn't it?
Yeah, the oil pump's right over this way. This is number 4 cylinder. But there again, number 1 ain't great. 2 and 3 are okay. Right, I think we'll take these caps off. They are E12 bits. Oh, that's come off. Let's have a little look. Oh well, the actual shell has stayed on the crankshaft. Yeah, that is black. Knock the piston down. Let's get these shells out. Bloody hell, that is a mess. Can I get it? Can I get it? No. In actual fact, I think it's just completely destroyed the shells altogether. Yeah, well anyway, there has been absolutely no oil got to that. Right, I'll get the rest of them off and we'll push the pistons out. Okay, I'm just going to get this oil pump chain out of the way. And then I'm going to actually just whiz the oil pump off just out of interest. Whoop. Right, there, that's it. One oil pump sprocket and chain off. This actual oil pump, it looks very much like it's just 4 bolts. 10 mils. There. All the clarets coming out. I'll tell you what though, it feels fine. Mrs. M? There's 10 bolts. I think they're bolts, yeah, they're bolts. That hold down this like carrier which holds the crankshaft in. So I'm going to whack all these bolts out, see if we can get this crankshaft out. Yeah, they're pretty damn tight. Right, last one. Bingo. I've never had one of these crankshaft carriers off, so I don't know how tight it's going to be. I'll try giving it a little bit of a lever. Whoop, that's gone. Woohoo! I'll tell you something, all the shells on this one, every single shell looks pretty good. Impressive. Anyway, now's the time to remove this crankshaft. I think this is pretty heavy. Come on, there we go. Right, one crankshaft. So I think I can definitely say that number 4 journal, big end journal, is absolutely twatted. Flipping heck. That's what happens when you get no oil on your big end journals, obviously. Number 2, it's still got a bit of a shell on it. Yeah, not good. That's completely destroyed it. There should be an oil hole through there, but there's not. It's completely blocked up, and the shell itself is like flipping heck. That is like paper thin, wafer thin shell, where it's been worn out, where friction has got it so hot. Bloody hell. And number 1 big end journal, that's completely cuffed. I mean, this crankshaft is scrap, absolute scrap now. I think I can safely say all 4 big end journals have taken the brunt of it, but the actual main bearing journals look as good as new. They haven't been affected. Look at that, it's still got the oil hole in it. I'm just going to knock out number 1 piston. I'll tell you something, the oil control ring, oh, it still moves a bit. It looks pretty flattened in there though. But the other compression piston rings look okay. They're not broken. Piston skirt don't look too bad. But yeah. Ouch. Yeah, it's definitely the big end shells that have taken the brunt of it. There's absolutely next to nothing left of it. It's worn to a crisp. Just to give you some kind of comparison here, I know this is a main bearing shell, but look at the thickness of that compared to this big end shell that's actually like worn paper thin. These big ends, they should they should be round about as thick as this. Maybe not quite as thick as this, but nearly. That is absolutely, that's the back of the shell. But look how thin it is. Bloody hell. It's nearly worn out to absolutely nothing. Right, I'm just going to pop number 4 piston out. That's it. Let's see what this one's like. This is the one furthest away from the oil pump. Once again, all the rings are okay, but the oil control ring looks a bit flat in there. Oh dear. Yeah. Crispy. Well, that's it then. All 4 big ends are completely cuffed. That's what happens when your engine runs out of oil. I shan't be bothering trying to rebuild it. It'd be cheaper just to buy a second-hand engine. Now, something like this, it's more a case of you can't make a silk purse out of a pig's ear. Right then. I never knew a bare cylinder head could flipping weigh so much. Oops. Yeah. Oh. That's it, done. I'm glad that's over. End of video. So anyway guys, till the next time, see ya.